Excellent. Excellent. Good to see you all this morning. Welcome. All right, since it's 10 o'clock Eastern time, we'll get started here in today's session of the Global Flourishing Student Webinar Series. I'm so grateful to be here with all of you today. I'm Michael Lamb. I direct the program for leadership and character at Wake Forest University, and we're just delighted to have a chance to co-sponsor this series with the Jubilee Center for Character and Virtues at the University of Birmingham. So thank you all for being here as part of what today is a really special session today with one of my favorite teams in the world doing work on character. We have a chance to hear from the Virtues and Values Education Center at the Universidad Francisco de Vitoria in Madrid, Spain, with two of my favorite people, Verónica Fernández and Vianney Domingo. So I'll say a few words about each of them and then let them have the chance to share more about their program in Madrid. So Verónica Fernández is professor at Universidad Francisco de Vitoria, where she's also director of the Virtues and Values Education Center. She holds a PhD in leadership and management of higher education, as well as a degree in education, an MA in religious sciences, and a master's degree in educational leadership and management. With over 20 years of experience in education, Verónica served as school director for several years and is currently the international head of the RC School Network. Her teaching and research focus on educational leadership and virtue ethics as applied to education. She's authored many publications and co-authored or co-edited several books, including Pedagogy and Virtues, Towards the Excellent End, Character Education in Universities, and Character Education in Europe, Challenges and Opportunities, among others, which I have that here along with the other one here. So they're terrific books. I recommend them to all of you. She's also been very involved as a consultant for the Values-Based Leadership Project at the Oxford Character Project at the University of Oxford, and one of the founding leaders of the European Character and Virtue Association, which is doing great work to encourage character education across European universities. Welcome, Verónica. Vianney Domingo is a research fellow at the Virtue and Values Education Center at Universidad Francisco de Vitoria, there in Madrid. He's previously a research fellow at the Civic Humanism Center for Character and Professional Ethics at the University of Navarra, and a lecturer in ethics and moral psychology at the International University of Catalonia. He was director there of the task force for implementing the core curriculum program. He's been a visiting researcher at the University of California, Los Angeles, Rice University, and the University of Oxford, and is also a part-time postdoctoral fellow at IESE Business School's Business Ethics Department and a professor in the master's program Character Education and Emotion at the Universidad Internacional de La Rioja. His research is devoted to issues on moral psychology, ancient and contemporary virtue ethics, and liberal education. He's published many articles, which I have enjoyed, and so it's my great pleasure to welcome both Verónica and Vianney. I was actually in Madrid around this time last year to have a chance to see their excellent work there at the university, and just was so impressed with what they're doing to really foster education of character across Madrid, but also in the broader networks across Europe. And I'll just say one thing on a personal note. They're not only excellent scholars of character, but really people who live it out. So it's my great joy to welcome them today to our global webinar series. So welcome, Verónica and Vianney.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your kind words, Michael. I always say that it's great to work on character education in pursuit of great friends, with among them. So this is really great. And I want to thank also the Jubilee Center for organizing these webinars. I have been following them and they are really great. And all of you, and the work you are doing, it's part of the inspiration of the work we're carrying out here. So we just want to share with you a little bit of what we're doing, also with its challenges. So this is not easy, but just to share with you, what we're carrying out, and maybe you can enlighten us and keep working. Also enlightens you a little bit. So I'm going to share my screen with you, so I can, okay, there we go. Are you watching my? There you go. Okay, I see. I think you can see. Okay, so as Michael was saying, okay, this is our university, and just really fast, because we are a very, very young university, I'm just going to show you a little bit of who we are. So our university began its journey in October 1993. So you see, we're a very, very young university. It began affiliated to the Universidad Complutense of Madrid, which is a very big and huge institution here, one of the best universities. And a few years later, we achieved a full recognition as a private university. So we have like 31 years old, so we're babies, you know, like Oxford, Harvard, Wake Forest, and many of your universities maybe have much more years than ours. So we're a very, very young university. And we have 6 faculty and schools and 1 postgraduate school. And in total, we have 40 undergraduate degrees and 16 double degrees with more or less 12,000 students and approximately 5,000 postgraduate students. So just for you to see, like, it's not very little. We have been growing so much. So the challenges are great, you know, are really big, because 30 years ago, we were nothing, and now we are like a big university here in Madrid. And well, I will introduce you within this university. We began the Virtue and Values Education Center, and I will explain to you how our center has been little by little working to introduce character education within our university and what are we doing. Okay, so in the year 2020, when we were in the pandemic, I was already working on character education before doing my PhD on this, and I didn't have the privilege to meet personally the people from the Jubilee Center. But being in the pandemic, our university gave a prize to the Jubilee Center in the person of Professor James Arthur, which is the Expanded Reason Award. And James Arthur got this prize. So I asked, oh, I would like to know him and to know more about it, because I had the idea of doing a center or something to work on character education, above all in schools, because I was already working a lot in schools. So I met the Jubilee Center there. We had already planned a conference on character education and virtue education. We had to postpone that because of the pandemic until 2022. And I visited already by that time the Jubilee Center twice. And in 2022, we started to work already a framework. You know, the Jubilee Center has its own framework. So what does our own framework needs to look like for the Spanish context and the Latin American context? Because we are a Spanish university and we have bonds and we want to work also with Latin America. So we started working on that and we created our framework. And then in February 2023, we have the official inauguration of our center. Okay, so this past 3 years before this inauguration, we were working already, doing already some research, and we name it Virtues and Values because in the Latin American context and the Spanish context, just to use virtues was not very well welcomed. But we didn't want to quit to the word. And we also did a study on virtues and value education in schools. Okay, so we saw that sometimes they were using the word values, but deep down they were meaning virtues. But we wanted to keep this, instead of dividing, we wanted to build bridges. And the mission of our center, it's integrated a center in the Faculty of Education and Psychology, and it's an interdisciplinary research center. And many of this one, I'm very inspired in the work that the Jubilee Center was doing, and some other centers like the Oxford Character Project, now the work in Wake Forest. And it's devoted to the study of virtues, character, and values in the promotion of human flourishing. And the aim of our center is to promote virtue and character in education, in the professional context, and generally in society. You know, so our mission is that, to promote character, but something we wanted to add, it's to place the teachers also at the center of the educational practice, because we were saying, okay, great character education, but our mission have to be teachers, you know, because they are the ones, if we, you know, help teachers, we will be getting farther. Okay, so that's part. And our vision was also to be a laboratory that integrates research and educational practice. We learned that from many of you and what the Jubilee Center was also doing, and to do that in schools and universities. And for us, our vision is how to transform education through the flourishing of teachers and learners, of course. And we have this in our center that we need to transform to form, to educate better. And this transformation needs to have really good research, we need to disseminate what we are doing, and to train and empower team members, okay? So these are the three things we try to do in our center. We try to do good research. We're really very little. We're learning from you and trying to collaborate to make better research. So we're trying to conduct studies to deepen the understanding and improve practices in character education. We also want to share, okay, spread our knowledge, insights, findings through workshops, conferences, publications, and then to equip educators and leaders with skills and tools to effectively implement character education. So these lines like are, you know, all together, it's part of the center. So in research, we have these three, we are working on these three lines: issues and character, models of leadership and character education, and professional ethics and character education. This is like, of course, we're not doing all this. We are pursuing that dream and little by little, but we're working on these 4 projects that are part of these lines. It's character education in university, and Vianney will be explaining to us this deeper in the work we're doing and how are we doing. Then virtue education in contemporary context. Here we're working in cyber wisdom, for example. And then parents and teachers' attitudes and character education. And then enhancing character education in school. So these are the 4 projects, and we're little by little working. Of course, some other things have come through. So here are some of our research. They already, for example, there's an instrument that we have developed in the center to assess cardinal virtues and competences in students. And we're using this instrument, you know, to see the, well, to measure as an indicator of the entry or exit profile. You know, we have started to use it like 2 years ago, you know, to see how our students, when they enter our university, having this profile on cardinal virtues, and then how will they exit, you know. And some, we have more research, but just for you to know that everything we're doing, it's based on this, on research, and Vianney will explain to you a little bit more about our framework. Then about on dissemination, we have lots of activities within our university and outside of our university. These are like the upcoming events we have. To disseminate, we have a master's degree here in the university. We began 2 years ago. This September, we will have a specialist course in character education that we are doing in collaboration with the Jubilee Center, and it's totally in Spanish. So it's great, you know, to be doing something also in Spanish and to arrive farther. And then, well, these are all the activities. We will have a workshop now in the science of virtue. We had Michael Lamb last year. We try to invite people to come here to a university and to help us, you know, disseminate what character education is, and also to help us train our people. And then, well, this is our webpage, but I'm going to skip it. But just for you to know, these are like the 2 arms. We're working on one hand and with schools, and on the other hand with university. We don't have time to explain everything what we're doing. We will focus much more on what we're doing in the university level, but this is also what we're doing in schools. You know, research, we have some programs of formation for teachers, for directives. We're working in schools in Argentina, Madrid, Chile, Mexico. So this is what we're doing there, and we have very specific programs for that, and focus above all on teachers. But we will explain to you a little bit what we're doing in our university, because we are right here like a center, and we were thinking just in schools, a little bit with our students, but little by little, like people, teachers from our university have started to say, hey, we want that, you know, we want to collaborate with you. Why don't you bring this also to the university? Why are you just working outside and not within the university? So I think that strategy has been really great, because when you propose something, it's better welcome. So it's not, it has not been yet imposed, you know, just proposed. So our colleagues here, the faculty members, are liking it. So I will explain very fast just how this has been. In last year, the vice chancellor, the vice rector for teaching staff and training model, he wrote for the webpage of the university this, what you have here in the screen. You know, he says our goal is to educate. Well, sorry, it's because I can't read well. To educate holistically, that means to cultivate character so that our students lead lives of integrity, purpose, and accomplishment. And she goes on. But for me, it was like, okay, the first thing she's writing, and it's now on our web page, is that we want to cultivate character in our university. So for us, it was a great success. You know, so now our university really wants this. We have had some meetings with the directive team. Vianney and I. So we're little by little, working with them because they have seen something and the work we're doing, and they want to bring it within the university. So for us, having this last year as a goal for the university has been just great. And we have been working also, there's a Colegio Mayor, that is like a residence for students, that they have also been, that they were founded in 2006. But now, last year, they have introduced character education. We have been training them, the team, the leader team, on how to work with their students on character education. And they have written this. They have a new comprehensive educational program. They says, we're now in the process of designing a new comprehensive educational program that focuses on character and virtues education. Our aim is to ensure that students not only gain academic knowledge, but also develop into individuals of integrity and virtuous citizens who contribute positively to society. We have been working very close, to the directive team, to people who help them in the formation and the education and the training of students. And people from the university also sees that, and there's faculty that works with them, and they are liking what we're doing. So, and it is great, the work they are doing. The Francisco de Vitoria College, well, the residents, the Colegio Mayor, they want to receive an accreditation of being a Colegio Mayor, like from the Association of Character Education. They want to gain that quality mark of being a college that is really working on character. And this is helping us to see that this is possible there, and how can we translate this to other parts. And then we have the Educational Office Department. This is the guidance office where students go. I don't know if you call it like that, but it's where students go to ask for academic and career counsel. I don't want what I'm studying, I want to change, or I am having problems to study. So we have also working with them, and they have written this. This service offered by UFB aims to support students in maximizing their academic experience through a holistic approach. We address students' academic needs while also promoting their personal and social development using a methodology centered on character education and the cultivation of virtues. Most of them are psychologists. So we have been, also training them, making them dialogue also with philosophical aspects of what virtue really is. And it has been really great, but they have asked us to do that. So we have been working with them, and now they have their mission. They said, our mission is to support university students in their learning journey through personalized attention and meaningful encounters, promoting character education and the cultivation of virtues to contribute to their holistic development and the pursuit of a fulfilling, flourishing life. So for us has been this also a little success, to have them there. So this is what we're doing with them. And now what we're doing, training some faculties. But this has been the vice chancellor asked us to prepare a course, but the course has to be optional. So the course was offered, and these are the degrees that this coming February, March, and April, and May, we will be delivering this to the physical activity and sports science, to nursing, physiotherapy, to biotechnology and biomedicine, that they are in the Faculty of Experimental Sciences, and of course to all the faculty members of the Education and Psychology where we are. But they have asked, to receive this training. It will be just a little seed, we're planning that. So we hope this will make character education little by little go to all the faculties with the faculty members, and being able to explain that better. So now we pass to the framework, and I leave the word to Vianney. Yeah.
So thank you, Veronica. So as Veronica was telling you, now I'm gonna talk about character university, specifically in the university level. And previously, as Veronica told you, we have developed our own framework. I mean, it's like a programmatic document that, like many centers of character education, has developed its own framework. So and the document presents the Virtue and Values Education Center's approach to character education. We have been helped in all the process by by the 2B Center and other character educations worldwide. So I mean, the framework includes like very popular virtue categorizations like intellectual virtues and moral virtues. I don't need, I think, to go deeper on that. So, but it includes two kind of virtues that maybe they are more singular or more unique for our framework, which are relational virtues and transcendent virtues. So we retain very important the framework because all the educational practice we develop in the center is nurtured on this kind of on the framework development, and it is nurtured on all these kind of different virtues. So we understand by relational virtues, we wanted to emphasize the role of human relationships in character development, encompassing social and political communities. So and we know we all of us know that we have civic virtues, for instance. But we wanted to broaden that category. So relational virtues broadens the domain of civic virtues further than including the civic context or the political context. We wanted to include like many contexts in which human being is capable of different kind of relationships. So we can define this kind of virtues, relational virtues, as normative demands involved in different kind of relationships, from intimate or familiar to broader social context. So it's like a more encompassing category of virtues. And then we have developed also another virtue category, which is transcendent virtues. So probably to talk about this kind of virtues, we can now go deeper, neither in here, but needs to conceptualize what we understand by transcendence. So we conceptualize transcendence as the awareness of being part of something larger and greater than oneself, whether it be a community, humanity, nature, the universe, or the divine, or wherever. So it can encompass both the theistic and non-theistic perspective. And then we understand transcendence as the tendency or disposition to push through and to strive for something beyond, to transcend ourselves. So as a drive to exceed one's capacities across domains, whether in knowledge, relationships, or other pursuits, and thus towards flourishing. So we all have transcendent experiences, more ordinary or extraordinary. A classical transcendence virtues would be hope, for instance. We also were concerned about this kind of virtues because there's like an increasing transcendence urge in character education, and many models of moral development try to capture somehow this transcendence, the transcendence dimension of human being. So this, in this case, this kind of virtues, what do is develop the human being capacity of transcendence, which is natural in human being. So I'm gonna exhibit now the details of the program. But previously, this program we wanted to, as Veronica told us, we have many support in our university on how to develop character along all the university. So we have been thinking and we have been developing a kind of integration in the educational architecture of the university, of our program, and many of the activities of the center. So we understand the program that I will exhibit in a few minutes. We understand that it complements the liberal education courses offered by the university. In our university, we don't use the term or the approach of liberal education. We used to talk about humanistic formation subjects, which is very similar in contents as many liberal education programs worldwide. So, and specifically, we understand that the programs of character education and virtue education in the university can further develop the ethics subjects and their contents. So we wanted to educate a specific cognitive bias in this context, so to educationally encompass the transition from moral reasoning and other cognitive skills, and that ethics education used to promote, to the decisions or choices students face in their lives, to their ethical dispositions or moral development. So in a classical ethics subjects, we study, for example, models of moral reasoning or different ethical models. So, but ethics naturally can convey more education in that sense, and it can also encompass education about the dispositions and moral development. So we want to encompass the transition from learning ethics to living ethics. So to give some tools or some kind of resources to the students that on how to develop themselves, and not only knowing which are the different ethical models. So, and the other point regarding this integration in the educational architecture of the university is the involvement of local actors and engagement with university stakeholders. So we have been escalating the program along the different schools and faculties of our university. And in this sense, this year we are developing the program in 4 faculties. It started last year as a pilot program in the Faculty of of law, business, and governance. And this year, hopefully, we are deploying the program in 4 different faculties. And we have more faculties that wanted to develop it, but we want to go little by little. So that was the plan, which is working so far. And also the program, as you will see, we include different types of virtues. The types I have already exhibit: relational, transcendence, virtues, moral, and intellectual. And also we include some professional virtues. We understand, as I will explain in a few minutes, professional virtues in the development of the program in every single faculty. We choose 1 or 2 virtues more vinculate or more intimate to that profession or degree. So for instance, as we know, different professions enhance some kind of different virtues. For example, for a doctor, kindness or compassion, for instance. For a lawyer, justice. So it's kind of a way of making more specific the program for the different faculties. So it has been really helpful when we wanted to develop the program and integrate it to the educational architecture of the university. And then the other thing is the involvement of local actors has been developed by means of ensuring that the professional virtue sessions of the programs in the different faculties included in their implementation, in their development, different academics of this specific degree, which has been a great experience. So we are building a team of different academics and professors from the university of the different faculties that are willing to collaborate with the program, and they can prepare the sessions of these more specific professional virtues, which is different for every degree. So at the same time, gathering this group of scholars and professors that are willing to collaborate, giving some sessions of the program in the different faculties, we are developing a research group, which is integrated by these faculty members. So we provide formation on character and virtue education to this group of academics, and then we are little by little developing some professional research on professionalism and virtue and professions of this group of academics. So now I'm going to talk about the program. Something has been said already. So we have called the program the Leader of Character program at the University of Vitoria. So it is a virtue and character-based leadership program to promote students' flourishing and contribution to society, wanting to get a higher transformative impact. So that's a program that educates specific virtues to promote responsible leadership. It's taking like 11 or 12 week-long version currently, the program. So, and it is strongly inspired by the Oxford Leadership Initiative developed by the Oxford Character Project, as you all know, and the program for leadership and character at the Wake Forest University. So we're very thankful to Michael and Brooks for all the help we have been receiving on that. So at the same time, we present some original developments. So I'm gonna talk right now about the educational insights of the program and its virtue ethics foundation. Then I'm going to present the development of the Leaders of Character program, describing its different sessions and the educational methodology. And I have already been speaking about this integration of the program into university's educational architecture. So we have now a paper under review at this time about the foundational aspects of the program and the educational insights, which makes the program more unique among others. Okay, so these are the three aspects that probably make our program different somehow regarding other programs. So the first one is the leadership model that is called the leadership of positive action. Then the specific virtue typology, which is based on our framework, as I have been talking about. So, and then the effective or emotional education salience of the program. So regarding the first issue, the leadership of positive action, so it is a virtue ethics-based leadership model. It is the model is published in an article at the Journal of Moral Education, written by Jorge Lopez and Verónica. So you can consult that. You have here the reference. It conceives leadership as the action to guide others towards a shared or common goal. So which is kind of definition of leadership that maybe many of us can share. So, and it considers that the exercise of leadership involves different capacities, I mean, cognitive, technical, moral, including virtues, which are understood as inner dispositions to enable one to act well. So, and here is the interesting point. While each virtue facilitates proper action in specific moral domains, like moral virtues, for instance, focusing on the moral good within a given field, leadership facilitates proper action direct toward a common moral good. So it is the end of leadership, the end of leadership. So we have been appealed for this model of leadership, both for foundational reasons and educational. So regarding the foundational ones, leadership, this leadership construct allows for a substantive relation with virtue, like other models. But this is very interesting for us because it can conceive leadership as or the virtue development as intrinsic to leadership model, not something juxtaposed or coming from the outside. And then it is also interesting because this leadership construct conceive somehow leadership as a meta virtue. It doesn't actually use this word, but this is interesting because it can allow to conception of leadership beyond the relation of a specific virtues considered more salient or relevant for leadership performance. So we all know, we all can identify some virtues which are more involved in leadership development, like practical wisdom, honesty, patience, discipline, or whatever example you may think about. But I mean, to develop leadership, the performance of leadership do not require like this kind of virtues, but require this kind of virtues in the context of the specific end of leadership. So I practice humility in individual relations in a different way in which I practice humility in leadership exercise. And that's the point, which is interesting about this model. So virtues take on a distinctive form within the leadership domain compared to other contexts. Virtues involved in leadership are performed differently within the leadership context compared to other domains. Their education requires tailored approaches, which is really interesting. And so, for example, in the program, we do not only measure all the virtues specifically, individually, we also can measure leadership as a construct itself, as a meta virtue, which involves the exercise of other virtues, but in the specific context of leadership, which is exercised differently. So this is an enriching educational experience, and we have many information from the courses when we want to measure not only the efficacy of the program, but also how students can develop these virtues and leadership. So besides their educational reasons to assume this model of leadership, for instance, it talks about virtues and skills, both of them. It is also useful for us because in the Spanish context, the competencies discourse or the skills discourse, it's the most fashionable one probably. So and it's the most used one. So it facilitated for us this model to develop the program especially in the Spanish context. So the other educational insight is the effective or emotional education. So as we all know, virtue ethics is frequently recognized as championing emotional education. So it's something that we all know, but we wanted to make this more educationally explicit, making educationally explicit the emotional stand of virtue. So because we had the sense that, so all of us, we are really concerned about in our students' character development and virtue development. And we know that in the level of research in foundation of virtue ethics, it is absolutely clear that the emotional strength of virtue, but maybe in the programs, it can be further explicitated. So with this in mind, when we designed the sessions of the program, we have developed the sessions of the program with a set of virtues which concur more specific, a set of emotions which are more vinculated with the specific virtue, as you will see right now, okay? So I was telling some educational interventions addressing emotional education sometimes do so in isolation from other human faculties without considering the apparent need for emotional education to adopt an integrated approach that encompasses different sources of moral behavior, or even in character education programs, we do not have in mind this emotional salience of virtue when we design educational interventions. And we retain that very important because we are educating people from emerging adulthood, maybe for people from 17 or 20 to 25, for instance, and one of the most important aspects of their education is emotional integration, how to deal with their emotions, etc. As we know, no. So it is suitability for the life stage of its participants to develop this kind of effective or emotional education. So we have developed all along the sessions the virtues included in the program alongside their correlative emotions, because it is known that and this is really virtue ethics based. So Aristotle used to talk about some kind of emotions that are more intimate for every specific virtue, as we will see now. I'm going to show you some examples now. At the same time, we have developed 3 strategies of emotional education to promote emotional literacy. So these are, I can go further in this, but these are conceived like sequential steps to ethically integrate emotions. These are the 3 moments: emotional or affective interpretation, emotional or affective appraisal, and emotional or affective orientation. So I mean, interpreted emotions means to know, to put a name on what I'm feeling, and then the appraisal is to, you know, to have to reflect and somehow to do some kind of evaluation on what I'm feeling, also in the context of fewer goods of my life, wider goods of my life, not just in the present moment, and then the orientation to decide what to do with that emotions. So this approach drawn on certain factors from a variety of current strategic approaches to emotional education. So for example, you have some examples here. So it is compatible with other emotional education developments. So for instance, these are some of the virtues we develop in the program. So we develop fortitude, for example, temperance, hope, gratitude, humility. These are kind of emotions which are more familiar to that virtues, no? So Aristotle used to talk about temperance, about enjoyment, or for example, with hope, focus the right regulation of fear, despair, and also confidence, as you know, also with gratitude. So we have developed in the exercises that we develop in the single sessions for every specific virtue. These exercises are designed aligned with this kind of these proper emotions. So Another educational insight is the manifold virtue typology that we have developed in the program. So I don't want to go so far in here, but you know, to talk about virtue typology, it's a complex issue. So there are very well established distinctions among virtues, you know, embracing, for instance, intellectual, moral, civic, performative, and so on. Anyway, we wanted to develop some kind of virtue typology, which is difficult to determine, because virtue can be as a consequence of faculty developments, human psychic powers development, or also regarding the moral domain. So there are several criteria to establish some kind of virtue development. In any case, for us, we thought that a certain virtue or a little virtue categorization shed light on how virtues are exercised in different domains, so they can reinforce their educational acquisition. So the program's typology of virtues is designed with an emphasis on educational considerations, aiming to provide a more practical and pedagogically effective approach. So, and also because virtue habituation is different within the kind of virtues. So it's not the same to develop intellectual virtues or moral virtues, because we're developing different psychic powers. So these are the kind of virtues we have in the program: intellectual, moral, relational, transcendent, and professional. I have already talked about this kind of professional virtue, which are the difference for the different faculties we are developing the program. So regarding the methodology and the development of the program, so we are following the 7 strategies of character education developed by Michael Lamb and Ed Brooks, and which are proving really useful and educationally very fruitful. So this is an example of one of the organization of the programs. This is for the Faculty of Communication School. So we have these sessions. These are week sessions, and we have involved in the sessions different academics, as I told you. So this is 11 weeks, 11-week long program. So we also have developed a proper material, which is proving also very useful for the sessions. We have called the virtue booklets. We have developed 1 booklet for every session. So we have some samples here. This is from the practical wisdom development. So for instance, and all the sessions are very practical, with developing kind of exercises to educate specifically for every virtue. So very, very practical. And that is something that the students are really grateful for that. We have here the example of humility, for instance. We have developed that for every virtue. So thank you.
Yes, thank you, Vianney. some of the challenges, as Vianney was saying, that this is important to know, is like the program is what has been allowing us to involve more faculty members. Each time we're going to a new faculty, we invite teachers, oh, would you like to give this? We know they are, of different sciences, and we have a meeting with them, and we elaborate, and it's a way of inviting them to come abroad with us. And they start getting to know more the center, what we're doing. So this is something we're trying to do. So some of our challenges is that for us, character education within the university has to be proposed and not imposed. It's because for us it's now a challenge, because the directive team, the chancellor, the vice chancellor, they are really happy. They see that, as Vianney was explaining, this is for us like there are lots of humanities in the university. So this is like a gap, to say so. They have been taught, why to be honest, but know how to act honestly. So they are really happy about it. But sometimes we run the risk within the university to say, like, everybody has now to go and do character education. So we are like, no, we have to do it like kind of attraction because of who we are as people, the way we relate, that we are really we have something great. So it has to be proposed and not imposed, but now it has to be like a challenge, because they want us to give now formation to train the faculty members, but we know that's difficult. And then another great challenge that we have to face in our university is a shared language. It's because our university has like these humanities, and there are different projects, a lot of things going on, but we lacked a shared language. So I think we're working on that. Why do we mean, now by character, by virtue? We have different projects going on. One that it's called Open Reason or Expanded Reason. There are many things. So we need to have a shared language. And we spoke about this when last year when Michael was here. So we were talking about it. And then another challenge we have is to ensure that many of the activities that are already being carried out help to build character in an intentional manner. And because if not, the students have the sense of being in many things, not in a unified way, and how this is building my character and making me a better person, and how can I flourish. So in 3 weeks, we're organizing the Character Week. And we are inviting people from different departments, come abroad. Why don't we organize this together, like to make people be part of it, and so that they can see that we all can be part of something and have a shared goal. So we're trying to do this to see if this helps to ensure this, and so that they get to know this. Because with many faculties and the transversal activities, they do the Camino de Santiago, different activities, but they don't have an intentional way of building character. So we have to do it, and we're trying to do that. And then also we have the challenge that there are diverse schools and faculties with different situations, each of them, because well, they are different. One is really new, others have already a lot of time, people. So there's a challenge on how to adapt to all that difference. And then the continuity, how can we follow up, because we are very few in our center. We are 3 total with 1.5 time, and we invite lots of students to collaborate with us, and we're doing all this. So also we don't have, for example, also we do this with the resources our university gives us, but we don't have a lot of money. So we're trying and doing our best, trying to multiply what we have. So I think this is it. So you get a little sense of what we're doing. And I don't know, I think there are some questions.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thank you both for a really terrific presentation. And I'm just so impressed by all that you're doing across the university and beyond, and also how much you've done in such little time. I mean, it's really impressive that you've done all of this in such a recent time. So just really well done. So we do have a lot of questions in the chat. If you haven't asked your question yet, feel free to add a question to the chat, and we'll be sure to ask it of Veronica and Vianney in the next few minutes. But we have 2 questions from Gerard here. One was related to the challenges you all face, which you just addressed, I think. So I'll ask his second question, Veronica. Gerard says, you mentioned that you were successful in embedding character across the university. What was the secret sauce or the special advantage you had to open up all faculties to such character education, and how much effort did it take for those faculties to embrace your work across the university?
Well, it's not already embedded. We are in the midst of doing that. And it's what we were saying, you know, we invite teachers, faculty member, would you like to collaborate? It's about, we're using the strategies, Michael, you know, friendship, you know, okay, let's collaborate. Let's have time to get a coffee. Let me explain to you what we're doing, you know, come and see, and we invite them. And we want everybody to feel included in what we're doing. This is not just a center that is there working on character education, but how can you be part of this? You know, how can you come and see, you know, come and I invite you to this conference. Why don't we do this research together? You know, let's have a coffee and I invite you. So, and that takes time. But for us, like at least I do a lot of coffees in the university. Come and let's have a coffee, not just an email. You know, you need this personal contact. Let's go and talk. Let's go and come and do it. It's because if not, something that it's my philosophy is like try to live what I preach. You know, so if I say that friendship, that let's build that. Let's be, you know, because we're running, and I'm the first one that runs. Everybody sees me running here, like Verónica. But when I need to stop, we're like, okay, let's get this coffee. And so we have been working even with the deans. You know, we go to the deans and do you have 5 minutes? We can talk. We have this. You know, last year when we were doing the first, well, not the first one, the second one, but more programmed, like more programmed in the Faculty of Law and Business, this program, it was, you know, inviting and showing what we went to the dean and said, like, this is the result. Look how happy are your students. And he was like, oh, it's about also communicating the results. You know, this is great. Look, your faculty, this is what you want for your students. So we're achieving this. Why don't you? So now he's really happy. Like he wanted, the dean of the faculty wanted to give the last session. He's committed to, and he spread the word, you know. So we want to talk to the communications faculty. Hey, we would like to do this. So we went, we had at the beginning, they were like, oh, we don't know if we like this of character, but he had already heard, well, it's a she. We already heard, so we went, we talked, and then are all these humanities, these philosophers that are like looking, what are you doing there? So we explained to them a little bit. Vianney, he's doing the work of speaking with all the people from humanities because they see it like, what is this of character? You know, we're philosophers and okay, let's build bridges, you know, for us is go and have a coffee and go and sit with them. So I don't know, but we're creating like a hunger, but that's why, although there's hunger, we don't want to impose it. It's for us, it's really like to propose, come and see, and or with the medicine faculty, you know, oh, I met this doctor that is great and he's doing the Kern Family Foundation, and we have them things. Okay, look at this maybe, you know, we try to create bridges with them. So they see we're facilitating something because the mission of our university is clear and they want it. Sometimes they do many things, but they see that there's something here that they can use.
Excellent. Great. Well, thank you, Veronica. And we have lots of questions here. So I'll ask one now from Mark. And he asked, could you define more clearly the project for parents and teachers' attitudes on character education? Is it a program support their understanding of the importance of character, or a formation for their own individual personal character?
Both things. On one side, we're doing a bigger project within Europe regarding which are what does parents and teachers think about character education. We're like 12 countries. We have already published a little bit in the last oral conference, and we are just publishing the one from Spain. You know, so what do parents think of character education? And because in Spain, in Latin America, there's very few about it. So in order to inform policymakers, we need to show them, hey, there's a need. This is really like parents want character education, teachers want character education, but just they don't talk to each other. So you can read the what we have written about this. So it's for that. But at the same time, we have a program to support parents and teachers in schools on how to form character education there. But that it will take us very long, but we're doing that also. But the research project is on this.
Excellent. Great. We have two questions now on assessment. And you mentioned some assessment tools you have done to measure the cardinal virtues in your students, both before and after the program, and also the process of validating instruments to assess virtues. So can you say more about the process of your assessment tools and how you became to develop those? And then also, are those available for people on this webinar to be able to use in their own research programs?
Yes, we have these tools already developed, and these tools were, well, before we began the center, we were working already on these tools. Okay, so this was developed by, one is the dean of the faculty with other researchers, and we have been working on with this tool. It's in English. It's already validated twice because we have done 2 validations. So the last one was published recently, but it's already, I can send the link so you can see everything is in English. You can use it. It's in English. So you can also validate it if maybe in your context. So we have been using this here in Spain and in some universities we work with in Latin America to assess, as Vianney was explaining, competencies and cardinal virtues. So we're assessing that to see how they start. And then we're now in the process to see, you know, after they pass this 2-3 years in your university, which is the result? Does this increase or not? But these are validated. So you can read and everything is explained about the validation process and in English. And I will send the link later.
Excellent. And one from Lorena asked about the theoretical framework that you all shared. Is it accessible online as well, or could you send a link around to that to the group?
Yes, I can send, like, we have our web page that I skip it because I didn't want to wait, but our web page is in English and Spanish, and we have the framework also in English. Okay, I will send the link also so you can download it. And I think Vianney wanted to say something or add something.
Yes, regarding some of the questions that have appeared. So to Jared, for instance, so our experience in developing the program all along the.
Oh, I think we lost you, Veronica.
Yeah.
There we go. Now we go. Got you now.
Can I talk? Yeah. So the experience was, the pilot program was really successful. We were very lucky to have a group of students that they enjoyed a lot the program. They are really good students. So they were the whole time posting at LinkedIn. So I'm doing this program. This is amazing. So thank you to the Faculty of Business Law and Governance. So the faculty was appearing all the time at LinkedIn. So we went to the dean and we told them, so this is how it works. So, and the dean was also really willing, and finally he agreed to prepare a session of the program. So also him. So we made a plan of meetings with the different deans of the different faculties. So exhibiting the program, telling them. So, and it has been really successful. And there was an important point in escalating the program. So we have, hopefully, we have many support from the provost of the university and the vice rectors, but we want it to become something that comes from the inside. We didn't want it to be something that is somehow coming from up to down, but down to up. So at the same time, knowing that we had that support. So and we wanted to develop it faculty little by little. So and it has worked. I mean, now we have to say to the faculties that we are not capable of developing the program because we are few people in the center, so it will be probably too much. So this is regarding the escalation of the program and how we are getting this in so little time, because the program started last year. So, and the other thing, as I have been telling, the point of including professors from every faculty was really successful. So yeah, because they were happy, we can inform them, and you know, it's mouth from mouth. People is talking about the program. So, and they ultimately, they, like us, they want the best thing for the students. They want them to develop their lives. So, and they have realized that this is a really useful tool to promote that. And regarding the measures of the program, so as I told you, we measure every single virtue, and also we have another scale to measure the construct of leadership, which is public, and Veronica is going to send you the link. And then we measure every single virtue. For every single virtue, we are using published scales. Now, for instance, we will gonna include the last scale for furnaces. We have been already published 2 weeks ago by Christensen, but we have another one. So the thing is that we use validated scales for every single virtue we can send. These validated scales we are using in the program. So yeah, that's.
Excellent. Great. Thank you both. We have a question from Asai, who's planning to communicate with various bodies to establish virtue centers in schools and to promote character virtues in extracurricular activities and eventually gradually integrate it into the curriculum. So he's asking, where do you start? Do you start with the grassroots community among faculty and staff and others, or do you start with the management, the leadership of a university or a school to get them invested? How do you all go about doing that work of changing an institution?
I think it depends. Well, at least my view is like what we did is we began without talking to anybody, like doing our work little by little, and they felt attracted to our work. But I think in order to change culture, because we have no decision making or anything. So if we want to change the whole culture, you need to work with them, But I think in a university level, you need to show that what you're doing is really well, that you have good research, that you are really building bridges with students and knowing how to educate, that you have some results so they can look at your work and say, hey, we want that. And then invite them to, come and see. But I think it's easier if we do it little by little. I think we don't want to run very much, although this is been like running, but we are like, okay, now let's slow down, because if we do fast food, will not be really good, I think you have to begin with a base and doing good work, and then inviting your chancellor, vice chancellor, to come and see. But I think you need to start working together, but but that's why I said, like, now our thing is that we don't want them to press, because they will ruin the thing in a sense. They know that I say that, like, please don't push, because if you impose instead of proposing, will hurt, will be. So there are a lot of challenges, as we say, but I think you can begin, like in schools is different. In schools, I think you have to begin with the directive team and teachers, because because it's a different structure. In schools, if you ask me what to do, you have to begin with a directive team. If not, nothing will happen. It's totally the opposite, I think, to university, where you have to start, as we were saying, from base to top. So they say, like, we want it. I don't know if I answer.
I think you did, Veronica. Thank you for that. I think especially the difference between schools and universities is very helpful, I think, in that way. One final question. We're almost out of time here, but Joelle's curious about what you're learning about how you differentiate this work as you implement it across an entire university. And in other words, how do you make your program relevant across different faculties, schools, colleges, degree programs? How much do you have to tailor it to those programs? How much can be shared across different faculties?
Can say the same as previous.
The same we say.
So so I can answer with some ideas that have came up a few minutes ago. So first of all, to involve professor academics from the faculty, it was really useful, while at the same time presenting the project to the dean team of the faculty. So and show them that some professors of the faculty are willing to be involved. It was really interesting. So, and also to provide formation. So when for example, we are developing right now, next week it will begin the program in the School of Communication. So there are 3 professors from that faculty that want to develop a session. So I have a meeting with them, or 2 meetings. So showing what's character education, showing them some material we use, the virtual booklets, how to work them, giving some advice to them to search some for proper bibliography on the virtue they want to develop and their professional domain. So helping them. So and once they have, for example, this year we are also right now developing the program in the Faculty of Business, Law and Governance. So which was the faculty in which the pilot program was developed last year. So all the academics are again giving the sessions. So they are improving themselves the sessions. So I think that's not a secret at all. It's like it's like working working with your heart, and I mean, and try to do things the best you can. So and I mean, ultimately, we have a really interesting product. I mean, not just at the center. I mean, I'm talking about character education and virtue education. So what we're teaching it's not only beautiful, it's necessary for life, for developing life, for flourishing. So and maybe we're used to do some research in this field, but maybe we forget sometimes that we have a very powerful something to teach. So it's people is amazed about that many times. So yeah.
Well, both of you showed, both of you showed how powerful it can be and how both beautiful and necessary character work is. So thank you both for a really terrific presentation. It's been great to hear about your work and the ways you're doing this across various parts of the world. So thank you both, Veronica and Vianney, for your really excellent leadership and work in this.
Thank you for all what you're doing, and thanks for being here with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. We do have another webinar coming up on April 1st. We'll hear from the Kern National Network for Flourishing in Medicine, a wonderful initiative there that's been doing work across medical schools across the United States. So Jeff Fritz and Joelle Worm will join us then. So please join us. I know Rachel's, I think, sharing the link to register if you haven't registered already. So hope to see you then on April 1st. In the meantime, my very best wishes to all of you, and thank you for joining us here today on this wonderful webinar series. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.